Okay, so this is a video I wasn't really planning on doing, but this is in response to a lot of comments on my latest video where I gave 10 reasons why you shouldn't buy a Rolex Submariner at this point in time. Primarily, I'm talking about buying a new one. And there were a lot of comments, and some of these comments are similar to comments that I've gotten on other videos and so forth. Some people are either trolls, or they just can't do math, or maybe they're just not real bright. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to try to be very clear about the message in this video. First of all, I think I've said many times, I'm not a watch collector. I don't understand the whole watch collecting thing. Somebody has 20 watches. How can you possibly wear 20 watches? I don't get the car collecting thing, really. How can you have 20 cars and take care of them and maintain all of them and all? I just don't get this collecting thing. But all that aside, my whole point in most of my videos has been, if you want to buy a watch to wear and use, basically as a tool for whatever work you do where time is important to you. In my work, time is very important to me. So wearing an accurate timepiece is a benefit. And I always have respected quality. I always have respected things that are well made, especially tools and gear that I use. That's why I'm using a Sennheiser MKE2 lavalier mic for this audio. And that's why I'm using a Zeiss lens for this video. And so I believe in having tools that get the job done. This is why when I discovered Grand Seiko, and I actually discovered it some years ago, but I actually first saw one in person just about 5 months ago when I went to Little Treasury Jewelers. And you know my saga on that, my videos and all that go through all that. And if you haven't seen those, go ahead and take a look. And I go through, why I bought the diver was the first one that I bought, this beauty right here. And then I got the Snowflake. So I've got a 2-watch rotation, and I generally have always had a 2-watch rotation. And in the past, it's been usually a Rolex Date 8 as kind of the dressier, kind of, you want to impress people watch, okay, gold Rolex Date 8. And then I also had a steel Rolex that was in rotation with that I used more as like a beat-around watch. And that was my rotation for 40 years. I wore Rolex watches. And that kind of a rotation. For a brief period of time, I had an Omega. I did experiment with some other watches. I even wore a titanium Seiko SBDC007 for 2 years. That was a fantastic watch, but it wasn't accurate enough. I didn't like the accuracy issue. So when I learned more about the spring drive, and I learned that I could get a watch that has all the benefits of a mechanical watch. It has no capacitor in it, no battery in it. I could get super accuracy, and I could have something very comfortable on wrist, just like that SBDC007. I was intrigued, so I went and I looked, and of course I bought the diver's watch and took it home. And then I learned about the Snowflake. I checked out a Snowflake, and I ended up getting a Snowflake. So now, all of that said, a few things I want to make perfectly clear. I think it's a bad move to spend a ton of money to buy a steel Rolex because they're so popular right now. You got to either pay list price at an AD, or you got to pay aftermarket, pay even more than list price to get a steel sport watch, a GMT Master, a Submariner, whatever. I think that's ridiculous. When you can spend a little bit more money and get a used Date 8, for example, model 18238, and have something that, if you want something that's impressive, and a lot of the comments on my videos have been like, oh, nobody knows what a Grand Seiko is, blah, blah, blah. So everybody cares about what other people think about their watch. Well, if you care about what other people think about your watch, get a Date 8 and wear that. That's impressive. Even people that don't know it's a Rolex are impressed just because of the look of it, and the bracelet and the gold just really stands out. When the light hits that sucker, especially if you're out in daylight, they know that's 18 karat gold, okay? So if you want to impress people with your watch, don't buy a steel Rolex. People could give a rat's rear end about a steel Rolex. The only people that care about a steel Rolex are people, other Rolex people that know about them and know what it is and are impressed, maybe a little bit impressed that you have one. But trust me, if you roll in with an 18 karat gold Submariner on your wrist, they're going to be a lot more impressed. Now, they might think you're a jerk also. It might backfire, but you're going to get their attention if you want their attention, if that's what you want. Now, if you just want to buy the best watch you can buy with, let's say, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, then that's where my argument for the Grand Seiko comes in, where it's a fantastic watch. You get a lot of watch for the money. You're going to save a lot of money over buying the Submariner. Now, here's the thing that people constantly keep saying on my videos over and over and over again. The Grand Seiko doesn't hold its value. I don't get this. Is everybody a watch dealer nowadays? Is everybody buying a watch and then keeping it a couple of years and then selling it and hoping to get a profit? Is this the deal? Well, first of all, if you're doing that now, if you're buying a steel Rolex now and paying over list for it or paying just even list, and you plan on keeping it a couple of years and making a profit, you're what we call gambling. You're assuming that this high demand that we're having right now, that we've had for like the last year or two, you're assuming that that's going to continue and that you're going to make a killing on this, quote, investment. I would suggest to you that that's not very wise. And I would suggest to you that you're better off buying the watch that you really want and wearing it and using it and wear it for years. And don't worry about its investment value. Now, if you can consistently invest in watches and make money, then you're a dealer, basically. You're trading in watches, and that's like a hobby and so on, that's fine. But I suspect that a lot of people that buy these steel Rolexes right now, today, in today's market, are going to get burned, okay? And if they don't get burned, maybe they'll hold their own or whatever. Maybe in 10 years they'll be able to get their money out of the watch without, quote, losing money. But here's the thing. If your money doesn't double in value every 7 years, double every 7 years, then it's not a good investment. A decent investment, for example, if you just invested in the S&P 500 for the last 30 years, right? Every 7 years, like clockwork, that money would have doubled on average over time. And so if your watch investment isn't doubling in value every 7 years, then guess what? It's not a good investment. So you should do a little math and think about what you're saying before you make comments. A lot of people make comments on these videos, and I think they don't think things through. And they make a comment like, oh, well, the Grand Seiko, it's junk, it's just a Seiko. They've never even seen one. They've never even touched one. They've never had one on their wrist. And by the way, they talk about how this watch is too thick. Look at it. It's 12.5 millimeters thick. It's about the same thickness of a date, roughly. I think it looks fine on my wrist. They say the same thing about the diver's watch. 14 millimeters thick. It's too thick. Let me put this thing on here. Okay. I think that looks pretty good, the profile of that watch. You see that? I think it looks pretty good. It doesn't look too thick to me, and I'm not a fan of real thick watches. See, the underside is cupped in such a way that when it sits on your wrist, it looks pretty good. Imagine that. These designers know what they're doing, okay? So before you make stupid comments on a video, think about what you're saying. I'm not going to make a point. I can promise you this. I'm not going to make a point in one of these videos that is not 100% correct, that I have not researched, that I don't know what I'm talking about, because I don't go around making stupid statements in my videos. When I say the Grand Seiko is a better watch, the Grand Seiko Diver is a better watch than a Submariner, it is. Trust me, it's a better watch. Now, the Submariner's a very good watch. I've never said Rolexes are not. They're great watches. They just don't come up to the level of the Grand Seiko. In quality, not anywhere near it. In accuracy, okay? And yes, they might hold their value a little better. But these watches aren't doing that bad. These watches are selling for about $5 grand used. You can buy them for not much more than that new. Okay, so they haven't really lost that much value. And again, I'm not buying these things to sell them. I'm buying these things to wear them. They're a tool. It'd be like me going and buying a suit of clothes and thinking, well, what's the resale value going to be on it? I could care. I'm buying it. It's an expense. I bought it. I'm going to wear it until I wear it out, and then I'm going to throw it away, or I'm going to give it to Goodwill. I mean, the watch is the same thing. I give it to somebody, or you know, if I sell it, I sell it. I mean, that's gravy if I get some money out of it. So I don't know. I'm just a little bit confused about people's priorities out there if all they can think about is a watch's resale value. I guess we got a lot of watch dealers out there, but and how they're going to impress other people. Well, again, if you're going to impress other people, you're not going to do it with a steel watch. Steel is for affordable watches. Okay, it's not for a watch to impress people. You want to impress people, get 18 karat yellow gold. Okay, that will impress. Anyway, thanks for watching my channel. And everybody else can want steel Rolexes, and they can pay double for a chronograph, for gosh, a Daytona, for gosh sakes. Who needs a Daytona? I mean, who's gonna? If you're racing cars, you need to time your cars, and okay, fine. But most people, a Daytona is a freaking joke. It's not that useful. A diver's watch with the rotating bezel, at least you can time when you're cooking something or whatever. You can time anything up to 60 minutes very easily with that. This other, you got to push the buttons and do all these things, and you're going to pay double? You're going to pay 20 grand for a steel one? Good luck. Good luck on that working out for you. Anyway, thanks for watching my channel. Please subscribe, and I will be at Little Treasury Jewelers next Saturday and Sunday if you want to come and explain to me why I'm wrong on all these points. You don't have to do it in the comments on the video. You can come and do it in person at Little Treasury Jewelers on Friday and Saturday. I'll see you there.
If you enjoy local content like this, please like, comment, and share this video. If you own a local business, please join us.